The glamour of Broadway's bright lights was no match for the uproar that erupted when Meghan Markle, the self-styled Duchess of Sussex, took center stage at the much-anticipated performance of Gypsy this past weekend. The scene, meant to shine as a star-studded moment of cultural unity, instead devolved into chaos as a furious crowd booed and heckled Meghan for what many saw as an audacious display of arrogance. When Markle, unflinching and seemingly oblivious to the simmering tensions in the room, addressed herself as Her Royal Highness, the audience's patience snapped. The jeers echoed off the ornate theater walls, a pointed rejection of Meghan's self-appointed regal status that reverberated far beyond the Broadway district. This wasn't just a fleeting outburst from a disgruntled few, it was a raw, public reckoning with a woman who has, time and again, managed to polarize every room she enters. Meghan's assertion of the Royal Highness title, long rescinded by the British monarchy and openly contested by royal observers worldwide, struck a nerve with the New York audience. In a city that prides itself on authenticity and has little time for perceived pretension, her words landed with the subtlety of a lead balloon. The reaction was instantaneous, visceral, and impossible to ignore, a chorus of boos, shouts, and mocking laughter that brought the entire production to a standstill. Observers were quick to point out that this wasn't the first time Meghan Markle's sense of entitlement had clashed with public sentiment. Since stepping down from official royal duties in 2020, Meghan has repeatedly courted controversy by clinging to her former titles in interviews, book deals, and public appearances. Despite clear guidance from Buckingham Palace that she and Prince Harry are not to use the HRH style, Meghan's insistence on doing so has become a recurring point of contention. To many, her Broadway gaffe was not a mere slip of the tongue, but yet another calculated attempt to leverage royal prestige for personal gain, a move that has become her signature in the years since Megxit. The fallout from the Broadway incident was swift and far-reaching. Social media platforms erupted in a frenzy of commentary, with hashtags like #NotMyPrincess and #RoyalHighnessMyFoot trending worldwide within hours. Videos of the confrontation spread like wildfire, capturing Meghan's stoic expression as the audience's scorn washed over her. For critics, it was vindication, the latest evidence that Meghan's carefully curated public image is out of step with reality. For supporters, it was a painful reminder of the intense scrutiny and hostility she faces at every turn. But even among her defenders, there was quiet unease. Had Meghan finally crossed a line from misunderstood outsider to out-of-touch elitist? The reaction from royal experts and historians was equally damning. Many noted that the use of regal titles is not just a matter of etiquette, but a symbol of legitimacy and service. Meghan's continued use of Her Royal Highness, despite having voluntarily relinquished the duties that accompany it, was seen as a brazen act of self-promotion. It's unprecedented for a former working royal to so blatantly disregard protocol, remarked one royal biographer. It speaks to a fundamental misunderstanding, or perhaps a willful disregard, of what it means to serve rather than rule. Meghan's supporters have long argued that she is a victim of unfair treatment, both by the British media and the public at large. Yet, the Broadway debacle exposed an uncomfortable truth. Her critics are not confined to Fleet Street tabloids or palace courtiers. Ordinary theatergoers, many of whom had paid handsomely for a night of entertainment, felt personally affronted by the spectacle. Their reaction was not rooted in tradition or hierarchy, but in a sense of collective insult, that an outsider would so brazenly claim a title that, in their eyes, must be earned, not assumed. Behind the scenes, the incident has further strained relations between Meghan and the British royal family. Palace aides, already wary of her penchant for controversy, reportedly watched the Broadway footage with dismay. While the palace maintained a public silence, insiders suggested that Meghan's latest escapade would only deepen the rift with her former in-laws. The Queen's long-standing view, that royal status is inseparable from duty, stood in stark contrast to Meghan's apparent belief that titles can be worn like designer accessories, donned or discarded as the occasion demands. The Broadway fiasco also reignited debates over Meghan's approach to celebrity and influence. In the years since leaving the UK, she has embraced a relentless media strategy, signing lucrative deals with streaming giants, launching lifestyle brands, and appearing on talk shows across both sides of the Atlantic. Yet, this constant pursuit of the spotlight has backfired as often as it has succeeded. Critics point to a pattern. Each new venture is launched with fanfare, only to be overshadowed by controversy, missteps, or swift public backlash. The Gypsy incident fits this mold perfectly, a moment of intended triumph transformed into a spectacle of humiliation. For many, the most galling aspect of the Broadway debacle was not Meghan's use of the title itself, but the lack of humility it revealed. In a year marked by economic hardship and social upheaval, her insistence on royal styling seemed tone-deaf at best, willfully provocative at worst. The theater crowd, diverse and cosmopolitan, was united in its rejection of the idea that status can be invoked with a few grandiose words. Their boos, sharp and sustained, were a demand for accountability, a message that even the most privileged are not above public reproach. Meghan's PR team scrambled to contain the damage, issuing statements blaming miscommunication and insisting that her remarks were taken out of context. Yet, few were convinced. The footage was clear, the audience's reaction unmistakable, and the broader context undeniable. This was not a media fabrication or a case of words twisted by hostile tabloids. It was a real, unscripted moment of reckoning between a polarizing figure and an audience unwilling to indulge her anymore. In the days following the incident, commentators from both sides of the Atlantic weighed in. Some saw the episode as evidence of the enduring power of monarchy in the public imagination, a sign that titles and traditions, however anachronistic, still matter deeply. Others saw it as a case study in celebrity overreach, a cautionary tale about the limits of branding and the perils of self-mythologizing. For Meghan, the consequences were immediate. Invitations rescinded, partnerships questioned, and another layer of skepticism added to an already complicated legacy. Even as her supporters rallied to her defense, launching hashtags and think pieces about misogyny and double standards, the damage was done. In the court of public opinion, perceptions are shaped not by press releases, but by moments like these, unscripted, unfiltered, and impossible to spin. Meghan's critics felt emboldened, her allies on the defensive, and a once-adoring public increasingly weary of the endless drama. Broadway, with its long history of welcoming outsiders and celebrating reinvention, proved an unlikely but fitting stage for this latest royal drama. The city that never sleeps had little patience for airs and affectations, delivering its verdict with the blunt force only a New York crowd can muster. In the end, the jeers that met Meghan Markle's self-anointment were not just a rejection of her claim to